What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new tactic, and today is going to be Amorim's updated FM24 tactic. Now we've got a chance to actually see and play a bit. We've got a good understanding of what happened, so hopefully you do enjoy. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And once again, today we've got 3 tactics: an attacking version, a defensive version, and a normal version designed for different game scenarios and different teams. So make sure you're watching all 3 so you understand what tactic to use for your team. Let's get into it. So then, first off, we are going to go over and test with Manchester United, and you know what? This is probably one of the nicest things I've seen in a long time when it comes to United, because we win the Premier League with 99 points, one off the big 100 mark there, only losing 3 games against Tottenham, Brentford and Liverpool, 3 pretty decent teams to be fair. We scored 133 goals, 14 conceded, very, very good in that regard. I will say, the one negative, we did pick up a fair few bookings, but we do in real life. It's not really a surprise. Now, in terms of goal scorers, Rasmus Højlund and Bruno really do well in this system. Ugarte, the actual best performer, and Bruno Fernandes also picking up the most assists, which does surprise me that he is not therefore the best average rating, but Ugarte is going to claim it. Now, in terms of the Europa League, we do beat Hoffenheim in a 4-0 win, so that is absolute dominance. We also go over and win the FA Cup against Plymouth, 2-1, which, as you can see, we're going to spoil it for ourselves. We also tested with, so that is going to showcase how good this tactic is for even smaller teams. The Carabao Cup, we're going to beat Man City. We love to see that. Again, a 2-0 win. Love to see it. And the Community Shield, we also beat Man City in, this time, 4-0 fashion. And it's actually quite good because we've won every trophy. We've got all the players performing to a very high level. Man United might be back. Looking at the team stats in the league, absolutely remarkable. Possession, pretty decent, 57%, but the real benefit of this tactic is the goals. 133 goals being scored, over 880 shots, only 187 faced against us, the fewest conceded, and the most clean sheets. This is a great set of results, based off the stats, based off the trophies, and I can guarantee the data hub, 3.5, 0.37 conceded, a great pass completion, a good amount of shots per game. Yes, attacker win ratio might want to be a little bit higher, but overall, I'm not going to complain. We have won literally 5 trophies. It is the rule to watch European finals on this channel, and as you can see, Martinez quite pushed up there as he does from Rashford into Bruno to make it 1-0 in 16 minutes. Again, this was not the toughest final ever, I will be honest, and as you can see, it is goal after goal in this regard, and there's multiple set pieces, so make sure you've got my set pieces as well, because you do score a lot of goals from them, as you are going to see 3 almost back to back there, with Mazraoui getting quite lucky on the rebound into Ahmad, who, yeah, we've seen that before. Now over to Sporting, and I will be honest, I use the attacking version of the tactic, and I know they are the powerhouse in that league, and the stats might be a little bit, not fabricated, but when you play as a powerhouse, they do look a lot more strong than obviously what they do if you play as a top 4 team or a top 6 team. But regardless of that, look at the dominance, and look at Victor Gyökeres. This is Haaland level of goals. Now, he has scored more, I've seen it in other people's saves. The guy is broken in this game. He is such a good player, but across all competitions, he has broken the Haaland record for me at 97 with 101. 151 goals, 10 goals conceded only. We won every single game in the actual Portuguese league. I will be honest, in terms of the cups, we did get a little bit lucky in some of them of who we played, but we still got the job done. A 1-0 win over Benfica, so again, quite a close game. The Portuguese League Cup, a 2-1 win. Again, I will say with this attacking tactic, you are going to concede the odd goal here or there. This time, a 3-0 win over Porto. Now, when you play the top teams, a lot of the games are going to be won by sort of maybe 1-goal margins. So what I will say is make sure you have got the balanced and the defensive tactic to switch to, because then you can actually sort of seal out the games after going 2-0 up or 1-0 up and be a lot more secure. Now, in terms of the stats, we're going to take home pretty much everything we want to. The defensive side of the game's absolutely incredible, but possession's also very good, 59%. The most goals, the most shots, the fewest shots against. I mean, you've got the team stats. You've got a Champions League win against Barcelona, which again was a very close game, but we get the job done. And I mean, the data hub again, we are going to see more goals because we are on the attacking version. 4.44, only 0.29 conceded. Again, this is a powerhouse team, I do understand that, but regardless, it's absolutely incredible. And then lastly, we are going to test with a very weak team in Plymouth Argyle. Of course, they are a bit of a different team to United and definitely Sporting, but we still offered some decent results. However, on this occasion, not as flawless. 8 draws, 4 losses, runners-up in the FA Cup, which is very good, and semi-finalists in the Carabao Cup, which is still very, very impressive. Stats-wise, we are very, very good, and we did get the best out of the players, but when you've got Morgan Whittaker, you've got an absolute gem in your team. Now, in terms of the stats, we can obviously go and have a quick look. We can see most goals, most shots, fewest conceded, clean sheets, not rank 1. Second place, unfortunately, in possession, we are still going to be somewhat similar, but of course, as you can imagine, the Data Hub is going to be the worst it's been because we were also playing not only with a weaker team, but we did also deploy the defensive variant, mainly for security, and a lot of the games we did actually go and win were sort of by 1 goal margins, maybe 2 if we did get a little bit lucky. But of course, with Plymouth, we've got to, you know, change how we play a little bit. So let's go and watch the highlights, and hopefully you can see the difference in what I mean. So instead of watching some highlights, I'm actually going to show you some of the games because I can explain the game a lot better in what you can expect. Now, so when you look at this, for example, if you look at games against West Ham, we most likely got dominated. In fact, we'll go and have a look. I'm pretty sure we got dominated. We got absolutely battered. But what I will say is we win it on penalties, as you can see. And sometimes in football, you have to seal out games from the get-go, basically. Be defensive with a weaker team. You've got to understand that, which is why I'll also say make sure you're going in with these defensive tactics. I don't make them for fun. I make them so you guys can win your games. You need to go in with the weaker version so you can actually be somewhat competitive. And this was a good example of that, actually. We can't click on it for some reason. Can we? No, we can't click on it. Okay. But we do win at 4-2 against Arsenal, one of the best teams in England. This tactic can win you some big games. Yes, we've got some losses in here. I'm going to showcase that. You can look up and down these results all the way through. We were incredible at the start. The mid-season slump comes in. We lose against City, to be expected. Ipswich as well, a decent team. It's not flawless, but you can beat some really big teams. So let's go over and break down the tactics. We're going to start with the default and obviously go to the attacking, then to the defensive. So then to go over and make this tactic, you want to do 2 things. First off, be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe. And secondly, create your own style. And just for an easy sake, we're going to just select this 5-3-2 and we'll mold this team together. So then the first change you want to do, of course, is go over and change the balanced to attacking, because Manchester United is actually quite refreshing because we are playing some very good attacking football and that has been missing for some time. So get that on attacking. We're now going to go over and talk about some of the player roles. So let's get cracking with this. Again, hopefully you do enjoy the new skin. I thought I'd switch it up. The game's been out so long, it's quite refreshing. Now the goalkeeper is not going to be a goalkeeper. It's going to be a sweeper keeper who is simply going to be set to support on the default instructions. So nothing too special right about there. Now, of course, we do play a free back in real life. Therefore, we are going to play a free back in the game. And first off, is going to be a ball-playing defender on the right-hand side, a ball-playing defender in the middle, and a ball-playing defender on the left-hand side. Now, they do offer various different things, starting off with the left-hand side, which I have got Lissandro Martinez playing in. He is going to be set to dribble more, stay wider, and also tackle harder. That is going to be different to the other two, so make sure you've got them applied first, because in the middle, we have simply gone with tackle harder, and on the right-hand side, we are simply going to go also with tackle harder as well. Now, I'll explain why this player is on stay wider in a second. Just 1 second. Now, going over to the sort of midfield pairing, of course, we are going to have 2 players in this role. We'll quickly drag this player up here. So, on the right-hand side, we are going to go with a DM, who is going to be set to support, and he is going to have 1 instruction that is going to be set to tackle harder. And to partner him, we are going to go with a Volante. I would recommend only using an attack in the default version. Support really didn't do enough, being honest. Make sure he's on attack and have him set to tackle harder. I would like to quickly say at this point in the video, if you are enjoying, firstly, be sure to leave a like, but secondly, if you want to get access to all of these wonderful perks, including access to all 3 of the tactics today and all of my tactics from this entire year, also all of my rebuild files, one-on-one tactical help, access to monthly giveaways, which last month was £500, you can come over and join the Patreon and be part of a team of close to 5,000 members. Loads of people. We've got a massive live chat where we talk tactics, Wonder Kids. I help with tactics. You send me yours. We just have a great time. If you like FM, you will love the page. So make sure you come on over. It's going to be in the description below. Hopefully I see you there, because we've got a lot of stuff planned for the rest of this year and also FM25. We've got some stuff coming up. Let me tell you that. But going over to the wing backs, of course, we now have learned that he loves an inverted wing back on the left-hand side, and we're going to have him set to automatic. And he's going to have 2 instructions: get further forwards and also tackle harder, which is why we have now got this ball-playing defender to be quite wide, because if he sort of drifts off into this area here, I want the ball player to sort of replace him a little bit, and we've still got 2 other centre-backs here, so we are going to be completely fine. But very crucial, this player is set to stay wider, with the inverted wing-back coming in there on automatic, get further forwards and also tackle harder. Now on the right-hand side, we are actually going to go with a wing-back, also on automatic, and he is going to have 2 instructions. Those being, get forwards, also set to stay wide, and also set to tackle harder. So again, providing width in the team. This is going to be your Mazraoui in the team. Been a fantastic signing in real life and an absolute pleasure to watch. Now, going over to what is a definite pleasure to watch as a player, that is going to be your Amad Diallo, and he is going to be set to an inside forward on support, and he is going to have some instructions. Those are going to consist of a very obvious one: shoot more. He always cuts in, he always has a crack at goal, and why not? He's in form. Roam from position, we're always going to tell him to sit narrow and also tackle harder. Very important he is sitting narrow, because this wing back then can actually overlap and contribute to the attack. On the left hand side, we are going to go with your Rashford or your Garnacho, or you know, whoever plays there, whoever wants to play there really. They are going to be a winger on support, and they are going to have some instructions: cut in, get forward, roam, and also tackle harder. So again, they are eventually going to get inside the box, cut in, and have some chances. And lastly, the most obvious role of the team is going to be a default pressing forward, who is simply going to be set to attack. But now let's go over and let's talk about some of the team instructions. So in possession, again, I will say this is all done off the clean slate on attacking. We are going to go all the way down now, all the way down to fairly narrow. We're going to focus down the left and the right while playing out from the back. The final third is going to be opted for low crosses today. The passing is not going to be much shorter, but shorter, because occasionally we will go a little bit more direct. And the tempo, well, he's a very aggressive when it comes to the tempo, so it is going to be set to higher. In transition, we are going to counter press and counter, and simply take short goal kicks. Onana does a mixture of things, some good, some bad, but when it comes to the distribution, it's not always to the centre-backs. Sometimes he goes out wide, and this pretty much best explains the Onana sort of mindset, if you want to say, or what he's told to do. So that's what we're going to go with. Out of possession, of course, we are going to rev up to the much higher defensive line, much more often, prevent short goalkeeper distribution. We've seen Rasmus get a couple of goals like that, and also Amad, and also step up more with that defensive line. That's going to give you the attacking version. Now let's go over and talk about, or the default version, this is the attacking version. Let's go over and talk about it. So this is the perfect tactic to play with as a real powerhouse, like a Sporting, or if you are a goal down, you can switch to it and go and get your goal. So if you need a goal, you obviously want to attack more, this is where it comes in. So again, on the attacking mentality, to clarify that, the goalkeeper and in fact all of the backline in the centre-backs do remain exactly the same. The wing-back on the right now on attack, on stay wide and tackle harder. The inverted wing-back on the left also now on attack, simply on tackle harder. The DM on the right now is on get forwards and tackle harder. On support, the Volante remains the same. The inside forward now on attack, shoot more, roam, sit narrow and tackle harder. The winger now on attack, tackle harder, roam and cut inside. And the pressing forward does remain unchanged, because there's not really too much reason to change him. In possession, we are of course going to go and talk about it. This does remain the same, all of this good stuff, down the left, down the right, playing out from the back. The tempo of course would not change, because why would you lower a tempo if you're trying to be more aggressive? The final third does remain the same, but the big change is the addition of being more expressive. In transition, we are going to counter, we are going to counter press as well. We're still going to take short goal kicks, but this time we're going to get the ball moving quickly, because we're in a rush. We're trying to score more goals. And lastly, out of possession, there is no reason why any of this would change, so that remains exactly the same with get stuck in, step up more, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and we are going to max out the trigger press to much more often. And that's going to give you the attacking version of the tactic. Now, for the defensive one that was tested with Plymouth and perfect to seal out a game with, and trust me, sometimes you need to do that with United. Sometimes the games aren't pretty, you need a tactic that can defend, and this is exactly what it does. Now, the goalkeeper and the back line do remain somewhat similar. In fact, they do remain exactly the same, so that is nice and simple. What doesn't remain the same is going to be the DMs. 2 DMs now instead of a Volante, so 2 DMs, both on support, both on tackle harder. The wing back on the right, on automatic, simply now only on tackle harder. And the inverted wing back also only on tackle harder as automatic. The winger on the left, on support, cut in, get forwards, roam, tackle harder. On the right, shoot more, roam, sit narrow, and also tackle harder. So exactly the same as the default, with the press and forward remaining unchanged. So the real big difference here is going to be done in the mentality. It's now all the way down to balanced. The addition of another DM makes the big change, and less attacking right back also makes the change, as does the left back as well. But of course, also the team instructions. So all the way down to narrow, we're going to work the ball into the box now with low crosses, a lot more sensible with the chances we're going to have now. This does remain the same because it is the way we play football. I don't want to change that too much. The passing down to shorter, which of course lowers the tempo to standard. In transition, we are still going to counter. We're still going to counter press as well because I want us still going to score goals, but we don't have to just shoot on sight, work the ball into the box, be more sensible, try and run the clock down, slow the pace down with Onana because he can be a little bit rash, and just to make it a lot more secure, we're going to play to anyone across the back line and not really risk going forward too much. And out of possession, it's not going to be the much higher, it's going to be the higher defensive line with the high press much more often when it comes to that trigger press, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, step up more, and that is going to complete for you boys and girls 3 versions of the new Amorim 343. Of course, he's testing out different systems, so if he does play a different style, let me know if you want to see it. But this version of what he plays is the most accurate that I personally have recreated. Now we've seen that he likes the inverted options, etc, etc, and he's doing quite a good job in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Once again, do head over to Daily Josh. It is my second channel which we are posting rebuilds on, and in the new year we are going to have this tactic tested in a 5 to maybe 10 year Manchester United rebuild. I'll see you in the next one.